Hold on tight, baseball fans, because the Mets are in the thick of it. David Peterson takes the mound tonight as the Mets battle the Nationals, with lineup set featuring Bo Bichette, Juan Soto, and a whole lot of potential. But first pitch is just the beginning. We're diving deep into the broadcast info and everything you need to know about this crucial matchup. And speaking of crucial, the pressure is mounting in Queens.
Here's a simple way to protect your phone without stress. This Allen 3-pack comes with tempered glass screen protectors, camera lens protectors, and an installation frame for an easier, cleaner fit. It's clear, case-friendly, and built to help guard against scratches and everyday bumps. Check the link in the comments to get it on Amazon.
Because David Stearns, the Mets president of baseball operations, is facing scrutiny despite assurances from MLB insider Ken Rosenthal that his job is currently safe. While other front offices are feeling the heat, Alex Cora and Rob Thompson have already been ousted. Steve Cohen's patience is being tested as the Mets struggle to find their footing. We'll break down Rosenthal's analysis, the controversial moves that have fans questioning Stearns' decisions, and what it will take to avoid a complete overhaul. But the Mets' woes don't stop in the front office. Louis Robert Jr. is heading for an MRI, and a trip to the injured list is looking increasingly likely. After battling injuries since arriving in New York, Robert's back tightness is raising serious concerns, especially with Francisco Lindor already sidelined. We'll examine Robert's injury history, the impact on the lineup, and the potential replacements Carlos Mendoza is considering. And finally, can the Mets salvage this season? ESPN analyst Jorge Castillo says there's only one way. The offense asterisk must step up. Juan Soto can't carry the team alone. Bo Bichette, Marcus Semien, and the rest of the lineup need to deliver. We'll dissect Castillo's analysis, pinpoint the key areas for improvement, and ask, is a turnaround even possible? Don't miss a moment of the action. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and stay locked in for all the latest Mets coverage. Good evening, baseball fans. The New York Mets and the Washington Nationals are set to clash tonight at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time, with the Mets aiming for another victory over their National League East rivals. David Peterson will take the mound for New York, facing off against Cade Cavalli of the Nationals. The Mets lineup features Bo Bichette at third base, Juan Soto as designated hitter, and Francisco Alvarez behind the plate. Brett Beatty will play first base, with Tyrone Taylor in center field, Carson Benj in right, Marcus Semien at second, and Ronnie Mauricio at shortstop. For the Nationals, James Wood is in the designated hitter spot, with Curtis Mead at first, Brady House at third, and C.J. Abrams at shortstop. Jacob Young will cover center field, Dalen Lyle in left, Joey Wiemer in right, Nassim Nunez at second, and Keibert Ruiz catching. You can catch all the action live on Odyssey Mets Radio, WHSQ 880 AM, and the Odyssey app, as well as on 92.3 HD2. Stay tuned for live updates as the game unfolds. New York Mets president of baseball operations, David Stearns, is not currently on the hot seat despite the team's disappointing 10-19 start to the 2026 season, according to MLB insider Ken Rosenthal. While manager Carlos Mendoza's position is facing scrutiny following recent managerial firings by the Red Sox and Phillies, Stearns benefits from a longer contract, a 5-year, $50 million deal signed in October 2023, and an owner, Steve Cohen, who has so far demonstrated patience. Rosenthal notes Cohen is less reactionary than Red Sox owner John Henry. However, Stearns' job security isn't absolute. Rosenthal suggests that a complete team collapse and failure of the offseason makeover he orchestrated could prompt Cohen to consider a change. The Mets' struggles are fueling criticism of Stearns' recent moves, including the handling of Pete Alonso's free agency, the signings of Frankie Montas and Bo Bichette, and the trade of Brandon Nimmo for Marcus Semien. The loss of Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers is also under scrutiny. While the Juan Soto signing is largely attributed to Cohen, other moves have been widely questioned. Cohen, despite being a high-spending owner, has shown a willingness to trust his front office, but maintains high expectations. Consecutive postseason misses, particularly given the team's substantial payroll exceeding $300 million, could test his patience. The Mets' performance throughout the remainder of the season will be critical in determining Stearns' future, with the possibility of increased pressure and potential dismissal if they fail to reach the playoffs. The New York Mets are facing another potential blow to their lineup as outfielder Luis Robert Jr. is heading for an MRI after his back condition didn't improve overnight. Manager Carlos Mendoza confirmed the news ahead of Wednesday's game against the Washington Nationals, indicating an injured list stint is a real possibility. This setback follows Robert being held out of last night's game due to back tightness, initially considered a day-to-day issue. Robert's injury history is well documented, having played 100 or more games in a season just 3 times since his 2020 debut. He struggled to find consistency this season, battling both hip and hamstring issues, and failing to replicate the offensive power he displayed in 2023, when he hit a career-high 38 home runs and drove in 80 RBIs for the White Sox. The Mets, already without Francisco Lindor due to a calf strain, are now at risk of losing another key offensive contributor. In 24 games this season, Robert is hitting .224 with 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. Should Robert be placed on the IL, the Mets are likely to turn to internal options like Tyrone Taylor, who has a .209 average with 2 home runs, or the emerging Carson Bench, who's recently shown improved form, going 7 for 16 over his last 5 games with a home run and 3 RBIs. The New York Mets are facing a critical juncture in a disappointing season, currently holding a 10-19 record and struggling near the bottom of MLB. According to ESPN analyst Jorge Castillo, the Mets have a singular path to recovery, a dramatic offensive turnaround. While the Philadelphia Phillies, also enduring a tough stretch, need pitching improvements, the Mets' woes are rooted in their hitting. Castillo emphasizes that relying solely on Juan Soto is unsustainable. Players like Bo Bichette and Francisco Lindor, along with the rest of the lineup, must significantly elevate their performance. Teams are intentionally pitching around Soto, and the Mets' success rate against this strategy has been too low. Key players like Bichette are underperforming, though Carson Bench shows promise. The team is currently missing Lindor and Polanco, and a concerning number of infielders, beyond Melendez, Young, and Alvarez, have OPS figures below .700. The pressure is on expensive veterans like Semien and Bichette to lead the charge. While Castillo remains cautiously optimistic about a potential turnaround, a substantial improvement in offensive production is absolutely essential for the Mets to salvage their season.